Welcome to colorful Colorado, our first time here. Hey y'all, Carolina Tony here. Today, the road brings me to the Kansas-Colorado state line. We will be continuing on our road trip as we cross over into Colorado, and we are looking for adventure, and you get to come with us. And we'll get started right after this station identification. This monument, it is hard to read, but it is on the edge of the prairie. Kansas, right there. Colorado, right there. This monument says Santa Fe Trail, 1822 to 1872. Marked by the Daughters of American Revolution and the state of Colorado, 1908. Of course, it's hard to imagine it now from this paved highway, but this being the Santa Fe Trail, can you imagine? Back in the late 1870s, cattle and people going west to seek a new life. We have made our way to Lamar, Colorado. At the height of the Santa Fe Trail, this spot was one of the liveliest way stations. The big timbers, a thick belt of giant cottonwoods stretched along the Arkansas River from here almost to Los Alamos. Indians, trappers, freighters relished this plains paradise. And William Bent built his second trading post here in 1853, 2 decades before the railroad began to replace traffic on the trail. The tracks wiped out the old road as they advanced, bringing soldiers, settlers, and cattlemen. These pioneers decimated the game herds, displaced the Indians, and harvested big timbers for building material. By the turn of the century, the woody expanse and active trade route were largely gone. At the time of its construction, it was touted as the oldest working gas station in the world, at over 175 million years old, made from local petrified trees found 3 miles northwest of Two Buttes Mountain, which is south of Lamar. At one time there was an ancient forest which turned into petrified wood or stone. Most was removed to build the gas station. The petrified wood gas station, Lamar, Colorado. Believe it or not. Lamar is on the Santa Fe Trail. This statue or monument is called the Madonna of the Trails. It's one of only a few like it in the whole United States. Memorial to the pioneer mothers of covered wagon days. Wamego, Kansas. And there's Toto's Tacos. And there it is, the Oz Museum. We're going to cross the street. Some old cars, that is pretty cool. This Dutch windmill was built in 1879, actually 12 miles north of Wamego by Dutch immigrants. All over town there are these little Totos. This particular Toto here is a service dog. In the Wamego Park, they have an example of a early prairie town. Some buildings that would have been found possibly on the prairie in the 1840s to 1950s. In fact, this building right here was built in 1840, was occupied until 1950 and moved to this location. Let's look in the window. The Louisville County Jail I don't see it anywhere but in this little park. It's a little railroad that runs through it. This tree that we're standing under is called a coffee tree, and these pods fall off of. I wonder if coffee beans are in it. I don't want to try and find out. Here's one that is open, and if you look inside, they do kind of look like big coffee beans. This old schoolhouse from 1898. This area of Kansas is known as the Flint Hills because its abundance of stone. A lot of buildings and houses that people live in are built from this type of stone. We are in Cheraw, Colorado, and right on the other side of those bushes there is Cheraw Lake. There's Cheraw Lake. The whitecaps. Is the Cheraw Rural Fire Department right over there, and the Frontier Diner in Cheraw, and the United States Post Office, Cheraw, Colorado. Okay, well, we are in Cheraw, and there is Cheraw Manor. You may notice it looks just a little different than what you are accustomed to. Look at all those windmills. It's crazy. They're everywhere. This is one of the propellers on those giant windmills that we saw. This thing is huge. Got to touch it. Very dense. This is the old Fort Dodge post office. And it is still a post office to this day. But I wanted to get over here and show you this house. It is pretty cool. Look at the woodwork and the stone on this house. Isn't that awesome? Here on the corner of Custer and Sheridan Street. The Custer house was the commanding officer's quarters. It's one of the last stone structures built at Fort Dodge. An active military post from 1865 to 1882. Like most military posts in the West, they were constructed around a central parade ground with no defense, stockade, or protective wall. The fort was a base of operations for troops and supplies, with civilian employees, corrals, horses, mules, more like a small town than a fortification. The parade ground was the center of activities for the garrison, provided space for troop inspections, training, ceremonies, including raising and saluting the flag each morning and lowering retreat in the evening. The Fort Dodge Chapel, I think they still have Sunday service here. Erected in 1902. Some of the homes that are here are a little newer. This is the museum, but check out this house here. This was a resident laundromat. Debbie and I were riding down the road and we saw this off in the distance and we couldn't figure out what it was. But look, these are cows, and as far as you can see, look, as far as you can see, these are cows, and you know what they're here for, don't you? I cannot describe to you the smell that I smell right now, but can you imagine what thousands of cows smell like? You're absolutely right, because you can see those cows there. You know what they're standing on? A big pile of, you guessed it. Back 150 years ago though, the cattle drives from Texas up to Dodge City, now they come in on trucks and rail car. We're just going to ride down the road a little bit so you can see these cows all on the hillside. Just how many there are. Literally thousands of cows.
I don't know that you can see for the fence.
And there are more cows right there. You know what? They're standing on a big pile of cow crap.
But it's the worst smell I have ever smelled in my entire life. Just so you know.
Can you hold it more? I guess it is low. It's the landscape.
I don't know if you can see that or not, but all that black out there is cows. On the hillside.
Well, our third day on the road, and we have traveled a long way. A lot of neat things we saw today. We are staying tonight at the La Quinta Inn in Dodge City, Kansas. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give me a big old thumbs up. Be sure to share with your family and friends. But until next time, y'all have a good day.